Why hello everybody and welcome back to another installment of Spoiler Warning with myself, Tom Colohue, right here on the Tom Colohue YouTube and Twitch channels. Welcome and hello to everyone joining me. Our prime focus today is going to be Cody Rhodes, going through everything from my previous reports and from the reports that have come out since that may allude to or suggest as to what's going to happen tonight, because a number of different websites are suggesting that tonight will be the make it or break it when it comes to Cody Rhodes signing with the WWE. Thank you very much, Michael, for renewing your subscription for a 13th month over on Twitch. I very much appreciate it, sir. Thank you kindly and hello to you. That will be our main story, being Cody Rhodes, and what this could mean for WrestleMania if the moment actually comes. We'll be analysing a lot of different data in order to get there, but of course we will also be answering whatever questions you guys may have and talking a little bit more Hall of Fame because someone else was announced, so it's always worth mentioning. Before we jump into that, if you haven't already done so, please do remember to hit like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. We have reached at this point 1,041 subscribers. 1,041 after only very recently reaching the 1,000. So good stuff, very good stuff indeed, and I'm very happy with that. Please do continue if you've not done so already. So we have quite a number of different comments coming in. Please do keep them coming, and I will jump in straight away with everything that I know so far about Cody Rhodes. So, to my knowledge so far, Cody Rhodes has not yet signed a contract with the WWE and is still considering doing so. There is a hope that Cody Rhodes will be at WWE Raw tonight. I can confirm that he is in the area and has been invited to WWE Raw, but I cannot confirm if he is going to be there. This is going to be one of those that if he signs a contract, it will be on the day and he would be appearing in the main event segment. What happens with Seth Rollins will be the big takeaway tonight. However, I will, based on my information, dispute what is being reported by a number of different wrestling outlets at this time, stating that it's either today or nowhere, basically. Because it's not a case of either today or nowhere, it's a case very much of the contract offer is on the table and Cody Rhodes can sign it pretty much whenever. If he doesn't arrive in time for WrestleMania, he will still be able to sign it in the weeks and months afterwards. The WWE want Cody Rhodes. They are very interested in getting him no matter what they have to do to make that happen, and they are more than willing to throw whatever money they need to at this project, so to speak, to make it happen. Once again, Cody Rhodes definitely in Florida, as Manny is referring to, definitely in the Jacksonville area. The WWE have invited him to WWE Raw tonight, and I have every expectation that when I'm asleep at some point just before WWE Raw starts, a lot of people will suddenly be saying, Cody Rhodes is there, Cody Rhodes is there. Because Cody Rhodes is indeed there, or is expected to be there at the very least. As regards WrestleMania and going forwards, the match I've already mentioned several times is going to be Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins if Cody does sign. If Cody does not sign, something else will be set up for Seth Rollins tonight. My expectation is that we are going to tease something new for Seth Rollins, primarily moving into the United States Championship picture, which is at current the backup option. The backup option right now is for Seth to join Finn Balor and Damian Priest in a United States Championship triple threat at WrestleMania, and the fact that Cody Rhodes is not definitively in or out is why they have not yet announced that match either. WWE taking their time and making their decisions very late in the day. I would imagine we're going to be teasing that over the course of the night before eventually moving into something with, I expect, Cody Rhodes. I do believe that we are going to see Cody Rhodes tonight. To be clear, my official report is that Cody Rhodes has been invited to WWE Raw and is expected to be there. He is in the area. Outside of that, my opinion is that tonight we will see Cody Rhodes arrive in the WWE. Let's jump in with some comments and questions. As usual, the show will last for about an hour or less if there are less questions. When there are a lot of questions, I tend to answer more sharply, but less questions, I'll take more time with them. So by all means, ask whatever questions you would like as we continue to grow and present what I hope is a very good show. There will be more news coming, I promise you. David Leary, first to say hello. Hello, David. How are you? Quite a few people are now in the habit of leaving a couple of messages on the YouTube chat before I actually go live. And it's really nice. It's really reassuring coming in to see several people already there. Though I do also quite like, now that I'm monetized, an advertisement will play at the beginning of the show. And when it does, it's a case of, several people will look like the viewership drops down. The viewership is not necessarily dropping down in that regard. What's happening simply is that the show has started, you get a brief ad over the course of 5, 6, 7 seconds, and then everyone returns, as it were, who's already shown up. So the fact that we have 8 to 10 viewers sat there ready and waiting before the show even starts, that's pretty good, and I'm very, very happy with that. So hello, David. It says 5 p.m. Where is Mr. Colohue? Joking, it's a time change. Everyone have a great time watching. We are now an hour later in the US. Same time in the UK. I'm a UK streamer, so that's why the time change. Over time, we'll be catching up. By the end of this month, I believe in 2 weeks, I will be catching up with American time. But for at least a little while, I need to get in the habit of remembering SmackDown's a little bit earlier. Ha says hi, Tom. Hello, Ha. Jermaine Presley says hi, Tom. Today's a sad day in the wrestling world with the news about Scott Hall, and reading Kevin Nash's post that was posted on Twitter brought a tear to my eyes even trying to finish reading it. That was intense and that was emotional, and yeah, it's not a great day to be a wrestling fan, certainly not to be a Scott Hall fan, but there's still a possibility. I did tweet earlier, something which I have since retracted. Not a news report, but simply an attempt to pay my respects because I didn't entirely understand. Just to be clear, this was a misinterpretation on my part. I believed when Kevin Nash was saying we're going to turn off the life support, that would be the end of it. Scott Hall is still going. He's still fighting. So, good luck, buddy. And that's all I can really say on that one. Andrew Quinn says, hello Tom, how excited are you for tonight's Raw? Also made up City drop points against Crystal Palace. Been playing my Rise again today. I'm enjoying it. A very packed message there, Andrew. I am excited to watch Raw tomorrow. I will be watching it tomorrow rather than live because it's still finishing at 3 a.m. tonight and I do have a job that I need to get to. So I'm interested, but the only thing that's really interesting me all that much is whether Cody Rhodes will turn up. The WWE have gone a little bit AEW with the potential surprise here, which is, a pleasant surprise, but we'll see if it actually happens or not. I'm going to be very interested to turn on Raw before turning on Twitter tomorrow. As regards City dropping points, very happy about that, naturally. And as regards my Rise, which is WWE 2K22, I am very glad you're enjoying it, mate. Wrestler Fan says, hello, Tom. From a scale from 1 to 100, do you think Cody Rhodes returns on Raw tonight? I don't have a percentage here. I'm not going to be able to sit and say, I think this much. In my opinion, I believe we will see Cody Rhodes during Raw tonight. And Matthew Ham says, hello, Tom. Andrew says, what time is Raw tonight? I'm guessing 12 or is it 1 a.m.? UK time, I believe it is 12 tonight because the US clocks have gone back an hour. Raw will still be shown at the same time there, so it's forward an hour for us, 12 p.m. Kuro, welcome to the show. Sean Cena says, hello, Tom. Mogsy says, hello, how are you? Very, very good, thank you. Other than a bit of bad news in the wrestling stratosphere, I personally am very, very good. Steve, welcome to the show, says, Tom, hey, Tom, how are you, buddy? What do you think is the greatest WrestleMania pay-per-view of all time and why? Now, Steve, I do apologise. I don't think I'm going to be able to appear in the WrestleMania video that I know you're putting together at the moment, and I do appeal to everyone watching to give Steve a subscribe on the SCW Wrestling channel if you would like to learn more about what the video is planned to be. I just ran out of time and I'm juggling a lot at the moment with the new job as well. I do apologise. I believe you've asked me this before. My personal favourite WrestleMania is WrestleMania 12, but I think the greatest WrestleMania is WrestleMania 35. With Kofi Mania, with Seth versus Brock, with the women's triple threat, I just think that's the one. Sean Cena says, Dave Meltzer tweeted 2 hours ago that Scott Hall was taken off life support and is still alive. I can confirm that. I can very much confirm that. Again, I had a bit of a misinterpretation earlier, but I can confirm it was about 4 hours before that tweet, roughly around the time I made my tweet, when I got the news as well. Scott Hall was taken off life support, but he's still fighting. I do expect there to be at least some mention of that during the show tonight. And Steve says, what do you think is the greatest WrestleMania match of all time and why? There's a lot of good options here. I liked Macho Man versus Ted DiBiase. Not many people mentioned that one, but I liked it. I obviously am a very big proponent of Steve Austin versus Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13. And I think there's some great stuff later on. Some not Money in the Bank, some TLC matches. Yes, some Money in the Bank matches, let's be fair. And some great Hell in a Cell matches that happened on WrestleMania cards. I think The Undertaker's got a lot to offer, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, but I still personally go all the way back to WrestleMania 12 and the Iron Man match between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. For me, that's everything I want out of wrestling. And a large part of it is just the fact that technically neither of them were the bad guy going into it. They just wanted a great wrestling match. I thought that's what we'd get from Edge and AJ, but apparently not. Manny Santos, welcome to the show. Says, Cody is in Florida today. Brandy and he are at Walt Disney World, good old Disney World. And I know Jacksonville's not far away on a drive, because I've driven that drive. Well, I haven't driven, but I've been driven on that drive. Wiggly brings in his usual yo yo yo, but tempers it by saying, hey yo, yo yo. It is sad news, mate. Andrew Quinn says, if he does in fact appear, this is Cody Rhodes, will he be allowed to use his Kingdom theme? If Cody Rhodes owns his music, he will be perfectly entitled to use it. The WWE have no qualms with that, using other people's music, especially if they don't have to pay a license for it. AEW have not bought that theme to my knowledge, so I would expect Cody Rhodes to at least be pushing to use his theme if he is there and makes that debut. Manny says, Seth versus Finn versus Priest happened last night at the live event. I can see Seth being added there. That is indeed the plan, the backup option that they have in mind. Sean says, think we will see Dolph tonight. I do. I honestly do. Pardon me. I think they're doing good things at the moment. Dolph Ziggler and Bron Breakker down in the NXT card. But I think it does good things for NXT when they appear on the main roster. So even just an appearance and maybe a promo to build to their impending rematch, because they haven't got too long, would be very welcome. Manny said, it's interesting that the day Raw is on, he's in Florida. Definitely seems as if he'll be there. Cody Rhodes is usually in Florida, to my knowledge. Florida's a big state, and after all, he spent a lot of time there when AEW was there, which was all the time. So, not that big a shock to me personally that he's in Florida. Simon says, hey Tom, is Sasha going to be on Raw tonight? Sasha Banks is going to be at Raw tonight. I can confirm that. However, there are question marks over whether or not she's going to be used. Because ultimately, when it comes to Sasha Banks, at the moment, they are trying to use her to build up a women's tag division. She doesn't always have to be front and centre in order for that to happen. Sonic says, hello Tom, how are you doing today? Doing very well, thank you. It's been a really quite sunny day in Blackpool, which has been fun, which has been great fun. And it's also quite nice, now that I have the new job, that I wake up on a Monday morning and I think, I'm going to go to work. And I don't hate myself. It's quite nice. It's quite nice. Douglas Bino, welcome, says, I really hate the name change of Pete Dunne. What, you mean Butch? You mean Butch? Good old Butch. I don't hate it. I don't like it, but I don't hate it. I like the faction. And I think the fact that we have this faction is sort of convincing me it's better than it is. But we'll see how that goes. Matthew Ham says, who is Ricochet going to face at Mania? I do not know. To be blunt, I don't know. This was a bit of a last-minute choice by the WWE. They realised how few faces they have on the SmackDown side and decided to try and elevate Ricochet with the Intercontinental Championship in order to do so. Decided to remove it from Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville. Around about the same time, they decided that Johnny Knoxville, he should probably win this. Sami Zayn's been angling to lose. Fun fact. Simon says, Gutted City just dropped points tonight. Title race is so close to call now with my team and yours. Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? It's fun. I love a good title race, and City and Liverpool have been giving us that recently. Even when City win, I'm still not disappointed because we run them close. And honestly, I think as a neutral, you gotta have something. You gotta have something. Steve says, Damian Priest used Razor's Edge last week on Finn Balor. The Reckoning is similar to the Crossroads finisher. Coincidence? Do you think Priest will continue with Razor's Edge also as a tribute to Scott Hall? Damian Priest has used the Razor's Edge for a long time. It's been in his repertoire for several years. And when it comes to Damian Priest, I think he will continue to use the Razor's Edge. I think he'll definitely use it tonight. Probably several times. If there's no Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins is begging for a Razor's Edge tonight. I promise you that. As regards the Crossroads, I don't think it's necessarily linked to Cody. I think it's more based on the fact that he's a heel now. But certainly, if Cody is coming in, it does make sense to make that change. Poor Damian Priest, though, has had to change the name of his finisher, change the name back for his finisher, and then change his finisher entirely, if that's the case. Sean says, sad news for wrestling and American football fans with the Big E and Scott Hall news. Also the news about Tom Brady coming out of retirement. One of those things is not like the other, mate. Not even slightly. Jermaine says, if when Cody Rhodes shows tonight, I believe it will happen in the main event section of tonight's show. It will. So, as I say, the WWE... I see you there, Super, saying, give me an exclusive. Here you go. When I say that the WWE have invited Cody Rhodes down, if you're watching on YouTube, please do remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. We are still growing and there is exclusive news you can't find anywhere else. When I say that they've invited him to the show tonight, to Raw, the plan is for him not to be there before the show begins. Now, ultimately, he'll arrive when he arrives, but the WWE essentially want to sneak him in the back door in the middle of the show because so much information has been getting leaked recently, and they are desperate to make sure that this one does not. The easiest way that they can do that, of course, is by sneaking Cody Rhodes in the back door in the middle of the show. So in order to do that and leave buffer time for him to maybe arrive a little late, depending on traffic and the like, they would guarantee that Seth Rollins would be in the main event, ready to be interrupted by Cody Rhodes. Now, I do believe they're going to try and throw us off, much like they did with Kevin Owens last week, and have Seth Rollins in multiple segments. Primarily, I do think he's going to engage in some way in and around that United States Championship picture, even if it's just a backstage promo with Finn Balor or something like that. I wouldn't be too surprised to see a main event match tonight featuring Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. That would not surprise me. Just to buy some time and keep people guessing. It would be very, very good to keep people guessing. Because if Cody Rhodes does arrive in the middle of the show, as I'm expecting, it would be a case of giving him time to sign the contract. He's already agreed. I can't say that. He hasn't already agreed. Negotiations have already taken place. And the offer that's on the table tonight will have already been agreed if he is to sign it, if he is to arrive and then sign it. But if he does arrive, it will be the case of viewing and signing the contract immediately, getting into his wrestling gear, and getting out there to face off with Seth Rollins. There's your information, Super. I hope it makes you happy. Wiggly says, reminds me when they turned off life support for my dad. Okay, mate, I'm not going to go into that. This is a situation, a very simple situation, where someone is in a very bad way. You're clearly saying there that you know a lot about this. So what we're going to do is we're not going to focus too much on it, because we're going to hope for the best, and I'm not going to read something that's going to make me emotional on stream. Hope you understand. James Stewart says, evening Tom, hope you're well. Who do you feel will emerge from the shadows in the months ahead? For argument's sake, Omos has dropped off since the AJ split. Omos, I expect to come back into play via WrestleMania. I expect him to have a good showing in the Battle Royal, if in fact the Battle Royal does go ahead, as is currently planned. So Omos I expect to see a lot from. Bayley, I expect to see a lot from. Liv Morgan, I expect to see a lot from. It is a lot of women at the moment I expect to get the big opportunities. As regards the men's side, Damian Priest I think will get a solid push, but it depends how other people land. Kevin Owens is someone worth keeping your eye on, because there is championship material ready to go. Jordan says, hey Tom, hope you're okay. Mick Foley announced that he will be joining the World of Wrestling podcasts. Will you listen, and what story or match from his career would you most want to hear about? I think most people agree that it's going to be Hell in a Cell. It's going to be Hell in a Cell. But beyond that, there's a lot of good options. There's the Edge match. There is I would love to hear about the Hell in a Cell with Triple H, which retired him, and see what element of that was botch. Because I think there's definitely some botch in there. I don't think he's necessarily supposed to lose that going forwards, but we are where we are. So I think there's a lot worth hearing about. I'm seeing a lot of wrestlers right now communicating with wrestling journalists and saying, let's start a podcast. So we're learning a lot. And I think Mick Foley's got a lot to say. Wheatley says not talking about the football, but you always talk about the football. Kura says 200% we see Cody Rhodes tonight after he buys the tickets and is sitting in the audience. That would be funny. That would be funny and fun. Sean says Fightful reported former Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Roxy has officially signed with WWE to NXT. Can confirm that has happened. All the best of luck to her. I think she's going to be a star. I think she's got real talent, and I'm excited to see where they go with it. Wolfgamer is here, says hello there. Hello, Wolfgamer. How are you? Spiderboss says, any chance we see Cody in WWE? Yes. Tommy B says, you got this, Hall. We are hoping, and if you are a praying person, we are praying and seeing how it goes. The user said, any more words on Cody? There have been a lot of words on Cody so far. Quite a lot of words. Let me reiterate what I've said so far. Cody Rhodes has been invited to WWE Raw tonight. He is expected to be there. If he chooses to come along, it will be during the show rather than before the show. He will be signing a contract there and then, and he would then be interrupting Seth Rollins. The big giveaways are going to be what happens with Seth Rollins. So, if Seth Rollins is in the main event, I would hope, and I'm hoping, for a Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor match in the main event to sort of tease the idea of Seth moving into the United States Championship. That would be a giveaway. Jermaine says, I believe we get Sasha and Naomi versus Liv and Rhea tonight. Sasha has been pushing for that backstage. Sasha will be at Raw tonight, and I believe she'll be fairly convincing and make things happen, but she may not. I haven't had it confirmed will be the match, but I know she's going to be there tonight. Says, I believe the match will end in a no contest due to the interference from Queen Zelina, Carmella, Natalya and Shayna. Impossible other women too. Could end up in a massive brawl. If we're not getting a women's battle royal, let's have a four corners tag team championship match with lumberjacks. Yeah. Spiderboss says, what do you think of the brawl of Charlotte and Ronda in last SmackDown? It wasn't bad. I like that they're giving Charlotte a range of submission moves as well. She's used these particular moves before. I like that they're consistent in the fact that these two women really don't like cars. I like it. Willie's got a ticket for WWE Live in London. I hope you have fun, mate. I hope you have a great time. Hector says, happy Monday, Tom. Did you see that Charmel is being inducted into the Hall of Fame? What's your opinion on it? I think she made the King Booker gimmick thrive so much. So congrats to her. Queen Charmel made a big difference to all of that. A big difference to the King Booker character. And the King Booker character was essential to getting over the people that it did. King Booker was a powerful character for a very brief amount of time. She hasn't been used much since, but with the amount of people who've said no, including now reports that Scott Steiner may have said no to a Hall of Fame induction, I'm just happy they managed to get someone. Cody, welcome, mate. Says, Kingdom is a theme suited to Cody having left WWE. Those lyrics are a subtle shot at WWE. If he shows tonight, I'd prefer either Smoke and Mirrors or a new downstate custom creation for his WWE return. Smoke and Mirrors would be fun. Smoke and Mirrors would be a lot of fun. Ghost of Nay has renewed their subscription for a 7th month in a row. Thank you kindly, Ghost. Says, it's been 9 months, Mr. Colohue, and I've loved every minute of it. Keep doing what you're doing, and I hope all your dreams become reality in the near future. Thank you, Ghost. I really do appreciate it. It has been 9 long months since you randomly walked into a Twitch stream, and you've been a staple ever since. We're very glad to have you. Glad to have you bringing in the trends and the like. I'm just glad to have you, mate. Thank you kindly for continuing to support the Tom Colohue channel. I do appreciate it. If you are watching on Twitch, you have a number of options for supporting. You can click that follow button. That will take us up to 460 and continue our race to 500 followers over on Twitch. You can also subscribe or spend some bits to show some support. Meanwhile, on YouTube, you can hit like, which also makes a big difference. It costs absolutely nothing. You can subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, you now have the option to give super chats, which is similar to the donation feature over on Twitch. It has taken me a little while longer to set up channel memberships. I do apologize for that. I'm working on it. It is something I'm putting together. I just want to make sure that we hit the ground running with it so that we have some behind the scenes stuff ready for when we take that step and move into channel memberships. I want people to have something to enjoy when they actually sign up. The user says, how could they introduce Cody? Maybe Seth has an open challenge. My hope, my belief, my fantasy booking as it were, is that we have a match between Finn Balor and Seth Rollins in the main event. Finn Balor gets taken out by Damian Priest. Seth Rollins stands tall at the end as it were, and then Cody Rhodes steps out to beat the hell out of him. I think what would happen is there wouldn't be a beating the hell on TV. I think he would come down the aisle, rock out a little bit, step into the ring, come this close to Seth Rollins so that they can do the stare down between the two of them, and would fade out. Then once it's turned off, they'd beat the hell out of each other for the paying audience there. I think that would be fun. Tommy says just a name change, not a big deal. As regards Pete Dunne and Butch, it is a name change, and it is a big deal because they're sort of erasing his entire history in WWE so far, which is a lot. It is a lot of stuff. But I don't think it's the end of the world for him. I think they still have good plans for him. Super says, do you really think Ridge Holland will appear on WWE TV again? I doubt it. Yeah, here's another little exclusive for you. The WWE is not blaming Ridge Holland for the suplex which broke Big E's neck. Both men, unfortunately, were a part of that accident. Suplexes are not something that one person does to another. It is something that involves two men working together in order to get the elevation required. Big E, upon speaking with Ridge Holland, has accepted his apology and does not blame him. The WWE do not blame... Sorry, no. I've got my people confused there. That was Madcap Moss. I do apologise. I did want to talk about Madcap Moss there. Gone off on a tangent. I do apologise for that, getting my names confused. Madcap Moss is the one that I was speaking about there. Has spoken to Big E. Has not been blamed by Big E or the WWE for the suplex. There's the news as it were. Madcap Moss will still be... Nope, I'm wrong again. It is Ridge Holland. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I got confused there because Madcap Moss is the one who also was landed on his head by in a move from Drew, where again both men were involved. Apologies. Ridge Holland will be back on WWE TV. Nobody blames him. They believe it was an accident, as does Big E. So leave it there. Cody says, why did we need yet another European heel faction? I like this one personally. I think they do have history with that, League of Nations and the like. But I do think, as well as anything, I think they build factions around who travels together. And these guys get on. I think it's a positive to build factions around people who like working together, who have a lot in common, who are genuinely friends. And I also think it's a positive to have Sheamus as a leader with a faction. This is very similar to Seth Rollins' faction, where it was Seth and two guys way lower down the card. This is very good stuff for Sheamus, for Ridge Holland, and for Butch. Matthew Ham says, they ruined Pete Dunne the moment they called him up. Wouldn't say that. He's had 1 week. I think we can give him more than a week to determine whether he's been ruined or not. Okay, just says, wait, Cody's actually coming. Cody has been invited. I want to be clear once again. Cody Rhodes has been invited to Raw and the WWE expect him to be there. There is a contract waiting for him. However, I am not stating that Cody Rhodes will definitely be there because I don't know. I'm very happily and openly saying I don't know. Simon says Roman's been confirmed for the UK European tour, but only for the London, Paris shows like Ronda. Roman was not initially expected to travel, so there's been a change of plans there in order to get Roman to actually travel out to the UK and the rest of Europe. So telling there, quite interesting. Really does show that for the WWE, COVID is over. Andrew says, you just said my idea. I was thinking that all day. They hide Cody in a private locker room. They would definitely be trying to hide Cody because they do not want this getting out. That's one of the reasons it hasn't gotten out. A lot of people have been asking Cody directly. A lot of people have been very open about the fact that they've been asking Cody directly. Cody doesn't want this getting out. If you as a wrestling journalist report this one, Cody ain't going to talk to you again. Cody ain't. Ori, you alright, mate? Says the immaculate Mr. Colohue. How are you, sir? I'm very good, thank you, mate. Very good. I did enjoy your work on the, I believe it was Radio Tekka's Royal Rumble watch party, by the way. It's been a little while since we've had a chance to chat. So I do want to say I enjoyed your work there. Welcome to the show. Simon says, very hopefully Jermaine Sasha is on Raw tonight. We'll see if that happens. As I say, she's going to be there, but I don't know if she's going to feature. Super says, did you understand Edge's Blue Lightning promo? Because I didn't whatsoever. I don't entirely know what was going on there. But I think at this point Edge is mostly just trying to annoy us so that we boo him. I don't think people are going to boo him that much. KJ says, Brock Lesnar 20-year anniversary is on Friday. Tommy, you're going to watch Raw tonight? No, I'm not going to watch Raw tonight. I have work in the morning. I cannot justify being bad at my day job in order to be good at my side job. If I was full-time, I'd be watching Raw every week. I'd be watching Dynamite every week. But that is not an option that I have at this point in time. Wow, super harsh. Says, no chance Cody will show in WWE. When he doesn't show, I will laugh out loud. The loudest laugh, because one thing I know about WWE is that hope has no home there. I mean, that's brutal. And I expect you to remember that if Cody Rhodes does appear. Justin says, Lumberjills, based on what I said earlier on about Lumberjacks. But yes, it's Lumberjills, my apologies. Justin says, was a plan all along for Alexa to return Raw after Mania? Yeah, that was always a plan. For Alexa to return either at or after WrestleMania. Because they did film a lot of different vignettes. She was not expected to be in the Elimination Chamber until the person that they wanted for the Elimination Chamber, Asuka, was not available. She was not cleared in time as they were hoping for. Sean says, I wonder how Jacksonville will welcome WWE tonight since it's AEW territory. Is it? Florida historically has been WWE territory as well. Also WCW territory. I think they'll still be very well welcomed. The thing is, because we have renewed competition in the form of AEW, what's largely happening is that if people don't want to go and cheer WWE, they have an alternative now. They can just go and watch AEW. So they do. So less people are going to WWE purely to crap all over it. Wiggly says, if anyone wants to check out the time Scott Hall appeared on Jerry Springer, not only gave a kid and his family a trip to WrestleMania out of his own pocket, but unexpectedly gave him his IC title. He was a good man. We all know he was a good man, mate. We're seeing a lot of great stuff popping up on social media as well. A lot of great stories too. Carissa says Tom's fired. Well, I'm not. This is my job that I'm doing now. I'm self-employed. No one can fire me. Cody says, everyone trying to defend Dunn changing to Butch. Is there any examples of someone who had a name change going from NXT to WWE that has actually been successful? The one that immediately jumps to mind is Riddle. That's the one that immediately jumps to mind, though that was a name drop, not necessarily a name change. Doudrop was negatively received, but I'm getting used to it. I'm honestly getting used to it. Outside of that, I don't think there's too many, although name drops there definitely are. Big E was Big E Lanston, now he's just Big E, for example. That's successful. Simon says, I hope Sasha's match is not made a Lumberjack Jill's match. They don't get time at all, just car crash spot fest. Yeah, I wasn't being entirely serious on that, let's be honest. Lauren Hutton, welcome to the show, drops a super chat, thank you kindly. Says, no Orton and Riddle feud yet. Wishing Big E well. Thank you for wishing Big E well, always great to see. And yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to get an Orton and Riddle feud yet. I didn't expect it at the moment. Pardon me. My expectation was that we were heading into... There we go, I was slightly ahead of the curve. My expectation is that we are currently heading into a RK Bro versus Alpha Academy rematch at WrestleMania. Randy Orton has been pushing for more opportunities for Chad Gable. Matthew Ham says, any update on Big E? Nothing really at the moment. We're still waiting on a formal diagnosis of how long he can expect to be out. The doctors are still checking, basically, seeing how he reacts to certain things and seeing how he goes. His spirits are high. He will not be at WrestleMania. That's basically the only confirmed information as of right now. Sean says, Charlotte has surpassed Trish Stratus on the list of most combined days as WWE Women's Champion at 822 days. No one is even close to Charlotte Flair when it comes to championships at this point in time. Please bear with me just 1 second. I do apologise. Oh, if I was ever a dwarf, I would be sneezy. Wolfgamer says, I honestly can't wait to see what happens between GOD and Bullet Club. Should be really fun to see how it plays out. I'm very, very excited by this concept. GOD are just great fun to watch. And Bullet Club are Bullet Club. There is a splinter in that faction, and anywhere Jay White goes, I'm going too. I breathe with a switchblade. All of you know that. All of you know that. And honestly, it's exciting. It's an exciting prospect. Sean says, why doesn't Roman travel? COVID, or does he not want to travel? He previously did not travel and hasn't travelled for a while because, yes, COVID. So the previous travelling of the WWE was very, very limited when it comes to Roman. Now, of course, it looks like he has changed his mind and is willing to travel. So that's obviously a very positive thing. Or he says, oh my, thank you, good sir. Perhaps we'll have to do another soon. I hope you do. WrestleMania would be a great shout. I don't know, like, quote-unquote successful in YouTube terms that particular show was, but I'll be doing a WrestleMania watch-along, and I really do hope that you guys consider it. I checked in, I enjoyed what I saw. You've got a lot of good energy there. Lauren says, hey Tom, how are you? Very good, thank you. Do you think we'll get Cody tonight? I think we'll get Cody tonight. Just to be clear, I think we'll get Cody tonight. I am being very, very distinct in what I am saying about this. I believe Cody Rhodes will make an appearance tonight. The only thing I can say for certain is that he has been invited to come to Raw, sign a contract, and make an appearance by the end of the night. The big giveaway will be Seth Rollins. I believe that the WWE will be trying to red herring Seth Rollins, so we will see him in several segments and probably engaging with other people such as Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, and the like. That's what I believe. All I know is that Cody's being invited. Lauren says, fave NXT call-up, Rhea. Rhea Ripley. I've got a soft spot for Rhea Ripley. I do. She's just absolute demolition. When I was covering NXT UK in Cardiff, I briefly ran into Rhea Ripley in a coffee shop dressed exactly in what she wrestles in. And you just have that moment of, damn, this is just genuinely you. You're just being yourself. Once Dakota Kai's called up, I'm a Dakota Kai guy first and foremost. I'm an Eva guy first and foremost, let's be honest. But Rhea Ripley so far. Or he says, I'll always hate Doudrop. That is Piper Niven, darn it. I didn't think they needed the name change, but they've been consistent with it, and she's continued to deliver. It's good stuff. Justin says, if the talent is good enough, then they will overcome a name change. I don't think that's entirely down to the talent. You've got to consider the booking in that as well. Cody has responded to that saying, hard to believe in that with zero history of that being the case. As Tom said, name drops are okay, name changes, not so much. There are a couple of examples. Fandango, for example, going way back, was someone who had a full name change, and I think he was moderately successful, but it depends how you define success, let's be honest. Sonic says, still no update on Asuka on Twitter. Nope, still not cleared to my knowledge. It's been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. Hector says, pardon me for not knowing offhand. Would this potential Cody-Seth match at Mania be Cody's biggest WWE match? Also, could you ever see Cody coming out to Dusty's theme or something like Mania? To something like Mania, or does he have no desire to ever use it? I personally think it would be cool. I think if one of those parties, at WWE and Cody Rhodes, pitched that, they would absolutely do so. But yes, I do believe this would be Cody's biggest WWE match if it happens. If it happens. I definitely think would be Cody's biggest WWE match. The only thing close would of course be that tag team match way back when for the careers. Jay Quick, welcome to the show, mate. Says, yeah, no one is close to Charlotte because she's won the title 2,000 times. Charlotte will be breaking Ric Flair's record. You heard it here first a long time ago. Lauren says, WWE currently have no plans for Asuka. Haven't heard that personally. Haven't heard that. Says, when Orton had COVID last year, he said he was really sick. Yeah, COVID's a real pain in the arse. It drinks you dry. When I had it, I went for a walk after 2 weeks or so, feeling that I'd recovered. I got about 4 houses down, and I had to turn back. It really knocks you hard. Cody says, Motor City Machine Guns reuniting to challenge Bullet Club is super exciting. And we get Chris Sabin versus Jay White now in the US of J Open Challenge. That's such wonderful branding, US of J. I'm a Jay White guy. I breathe with Switchblade. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I'm never going to not be a Jay White guy. I just... he's doing such great stuff right now as well. Lauren says, do you think Cena could make a surprise appearance? No. Lauren says, Cody stated he wants to retire at 40. Not long then. Do you think we will get any more turns this year? Yes, there will be a number of more turns, particularly on SmackDown as they try to get some more faces there at the top level. They could have had Big E. They were so close to it. But I think Xavier Woods may get a push here as well. Lauren says, is Rhea a sweetheart? The brief meetings that I've had with her, she was absolutely lovely. Sean says, how much longer do you think Dakota and Io will be in NXT before they have to be called up or be let go? Io is there. She's either at the point of being called up or let go. Dakota Kai does not want to be called up at this point in time. I don't know if the WWE are going to try and force that or try and force her out the door, but at the moment she's doing good stuff in NXT and they don't want to force her, even though they want her on SmackDown. Jermaine says, hey Tom, do you think Doudrop gets moved to SmackDown in the draft or sooner? Not sooner. In the draft, maybe. I'm not hearing much about big stuff at the moment when it comes to the draft. It sounds like there may just be largely corrective. A couple of people over from Raw to SmackDown, a couple of call-ups, nothing huge right now. Justin gives us a pretty good example here. Husky Harris to Bray Wyatt definitely didn't work either, what a shame. That's a positive example, a very good one, let's be fair. But it's worth mentioning that Bray Wyatt was Bray Wyatt in NXT. Husky Harris came up to the main roster, had the name change, went back, and started again as Bray Wyatt in NXT. So it's not 100%. Heat fans for life says, so AEW trade Cody for Jeff. No. If you're playing that trade game, then Cody's been traded for Jeff Hardy, Keith Lee, Adam Cole, Daniel Bryan, etc., etc. It's not a trade in any way, shape or form. It's certainly not in that regard. If Cody wants to go to WWE, he will. I do think that's likely, but there is no trade in place. Simon says, the best lumberjack match I've ever personally seen is Mox versus Rollins at SummerSlam 2014. Really great match. I really thoroughly enjoyed that as well. That was a bit more Mox than Dean Ambrose as well. Every now and then that slipped out. Though I've got to say, Zombies was fun. Or it says, hear me out. Down Straight covers Dusty's theme for Cody. I mean, I'd like to hear it. Wolfgamer says, it still, I guess, surprises me that Dakota Kai used to be called Evie. That's such an adorable name, in my opinion. It fit very, very well with the audience there. She was a face, she was working in Japan, she was in Stardom. It fit perfectly. It was exactly what she needed at the time. And really, you could tell how good she was going to be then. Yeah, not fun at all, Lauren. Thanks for saying that. Says, what picks do you see going to SmackDown? I definitely think they'll balance out the women a bit more. I think Liv's going to go across. Beyond that, they just need faces. I think Nakamura will go back to SmackDown as some examples. Heatfan says, be honest, the WWE draft made SmackDown worse. I don't need to be told to be honest on that one. SmackDown is definitely a lot worse after the draft than it was beforehand. And Raw, meanwhile, has gone in the exact opposite direction. Raw has become very, very good. I missed something from Steve, didn't I? Just there. What is your least favourite WrestleMania event and why? Steve asks. WrestleMania 9, no question, for the exact same reason that everybody else hates WrestleMania 9. It was just terribly booked and terribly delivered. Lawrence says, I met Randy Orton back in 2017 at Access. And also says, to be honest, the brand split should end. Don't agree on that. When it comes to the brand split, if they end it, a lot of people such as Ricochet would not be gaining an opportunity right now. What would be happening is that The Miz would be the Intercontinental Champion. Cody says, Kaichu is my favourite Dusty Women's Cup team. And that sounds so fresh out of Japan, doesn't it? Kaichu. It may be because I'm a big fan of the Pokemon Raichu. That may also be why. It's such an odd couple pairing. I like it. Jermaine says, why don't WWE make Charlotte versus Ronda a submission match? The only way you win the match is by submission. That may be the plan. That may be the plan. But Wiggly says, so when do you think they will make a final decision on EO buy? I don't know. There's a lot of pushback at the moment going on in WWE to some of the releases. They don't have many women on the roster at all, which is why they're still hiring, why Roxy has come in, for example, and why they were using people such as Mickie James at the Royal Rumble. They want to keep who they've got when it comes to the women particularly. She's also not that expensive, so that may be saving her a little bit. Mogsy says, when is the draft? Still at the moment, the plan for October, September time. I do think they need to move it to after WrestleMania, so I'd like to see it come back like 2 or 3 months, maybe just after SummerSlam, and then next year go after WrestleMania again. Hector says, fun fact, Razor Ramon was on the very first episode of Monday Night Raw, was interviewed by Mr. McMahon, making it the very first segment in Raw history. I do remember watching that way back when. Remember it fondly. Lauren says, I got a cameo from Tori Wilson for my B-Day last year. That's cool, mate. Wiggly says, if indeed they didn't have anything left for Asuka, would she be let go, kept as an ambassador, wrestle elsewhere, or simply retire? If they had nothing for her, they would keep her at this moment because this is going to sound really cynical, and it is, she fits a certain demographic that sells tickets. Lauren says, Charmel is the latest inductee. She is. I'm looking forward to seeing more from her. AEW has an open door. I don't know what you mean by that. Fave theme song of all time. Ooh, good question. Thank you very much for your subscription. The Resident Evil AMC. Welcome back to the show. Thank you for coming in, asking your questions. Says, hello, how are you? I'm doing very well. Thank you, Resident Evil AMC. Thank you very kindly for joining and subscribing. Fave thief song of all time. Oh, it's my time, Triple H. Duh. That's always been something that stuck with me. Best Mania? 35, I feel. Imagine if Riddle went to SmackDown. He will do at some point. Jermaine says, I can see Cody Rhodes starting a faction on Raw. I agree, absolutely. I suspect he's going to be winning that United States Championship and taking that to a faction featuring the Nightmare Family, as it were. Lauren says, Raw is actually the best show besides AEW, which is shocking. For a 3-hour show, it's actually not that bad, is it? Ghost says, this Friday will be Brock Lesnar's 20th anniversary. Do you think this week's SmackDown will be vignette heavy, or will the whole Brock week thing have a storyline purpose? It will have a storyline purpose. The whole plan is that it is built around... SmackDown this week is built around a face-to-face between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. They are ramping it up because the WWE simply do not believe that they've done a good job pushing this particular WrestleMania. The reason they believe that is because they have not done a good job pushing this year's WrestleMania. So the plan is to start ramping it up over the next few weeks. Lauren says, if Vince didn't release over 100 talents, we wouldn't have rematches every week. We have less rematches now than we did before, I'll say that. Wiggly says, Tom, what's your favourite Scott Hall memories? Met him at WrestleMania 31 at the airport with other wrestlers. Great guy. Chatted so much about the NWO and the WCW days. The big memories are the ones that stick in mind for me. But I do like the picture that he took with Zack Ryder? Is that his name? Been a long time. Matt Cardona. Is that his name? Does they call him Zack Ryder? I can't remember. Mr. Woo Woo Woo. The picture that he took with the whole anniversary thing, which was really nice. Lauren, I agree. SmackDown Live was great back then. Wiggly says, you like Raichu instead of Wigglytuff or Jigglypuff? Yes, because I like being awake. Cody says, Kaiju is a Japanese name for monsters like Godzilla, I think, so Kaiju is a monster team. That is fantastic stuff. Lauren says, fave era of WWE? This one. I honestly think Smackdown before the draft and Smackdown in 2016 is the best WWE's ever been. Will Kairi Sane ever return? She will return to wrestling. She will not return to WWE. It doesn't sound like. Was Melina a one-off? Yes. Sean says, do you see Alexa going over in the draft? Possibly. I'm not sure at this point in time. It really depends on what they do with her, because at the moment they're doing nothing with her. He fan says, I hope WWE put Shad Gaspard, Warrior Awards, Hall of Fame. He will be honoured, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure this was mentioned at last year's Hall of Fame ceremony as well. Lauren says, surprise China isn't in the Hall of Fame yet. Right? Completely agree. Completely agree. Sean says, WWE is kept alive and have no plans for him. Is this the report from Fightful today? Or is this just in general? Because I know a report was supposed to be coming out on Fightful today about Elias. And I'm interested. You know? I'm interested, pardon me, to see if it's an update per se. Beyond just saying, yeah, they're planning to change everything. Lauren lists 7 different WrestleManias as faves. You gotta pick one, mate. You gotta pick one. Resident Evil AMC says, yeah, me too, my friend Tom Colohue. Thank you, mate. Jermaine says, I still believe it NXT column, what happened way before the draft. We're already starting to see that now. I'm not sure I understand that, Jermaine. Could you rephrase for me, please? Lauren says, do you think Rock will dethrone Roman next year? No, absolutely not. If Rock does ever arrive to take on Roman, he will be losing. Thank you, Jermaine. That's why you've retracted it. I still believe the NXT call-ups will happen way before the draft. It's already happening now. Yeah, NXT call-ups are planned for WrestleMania. Either right after, or as it's happening now, right before. There will be NXT call-ups in and around WrestleMania. Spiderboss says, what are your thoughts on the Ronda versus Charlotte feud? They are not delivering as high quality as I'd like. The storytelling is a bit annoying. A bit annoying with the whole I've never been tapped thing. But I think the match itself will be very, very good. Woody Swaney say, welcome, Woody. Says, hey Tom, how are you? Sorry I'm late to the stream. Could you see Cody facing Bobby Lashley? No, I see Cody facing Seth Rollins. And then later on I see him going for the US title and going from there. Probably eventually there'll be Cody versus Bobby, but we'll see how that goes. If you are watching on YouTube, been a little while since I've done this, please remember to hit that like button. We have peaked at 39 viewers, but we are still only on 16 likes. And I know quite a few people have come in and dropped out over the course of the show. So if you've not done so yet, please do remember to hit like. And you can super chat if you would like. That has been unlocked as well on YouTube now, with channel memberships still on the way. It is taking a little while longer than I'd like, but we are getting there, I do promise you. Lauren says, I feel for some of the talent that got released, they could have had a great future. Still could, to be fair, just not in WWE. Or in WWE if you look at the Drew McIntyre situation. Jermaine says, I have a feeling Asuka and Io will be a tag team on the main roster. Wouldn't surprise me Vince called them the Kabuki Warriors 2.0. To be fair, maybe that's why Io hasn't been called up yet, because no Asuka. But maybe that's going to be the 4th team for the women's tag team championship match at WrestleMania. Who can tell? He fan says, if WWE have no plans for Asuka or Io Shirai, send both women to NXT UK. They should not do that under any circumstances. One of the reasons that NXT UK is able to survive is because everyone there costs very, very little. Kuro says, I got yelled at on Twitter for asking Wrestle fans to do one thing, asking them to please treat AEW the same way they treat WWE when all the old guard is gone from Ring of Honor. Yeah, one thing you should never do on Twitter is say anything, because people don't like that. Thank you, Michael, confirming Matt Cardona was Zack Ryder. And Wiggly also confirms Chewie is Japanese for mouse, Rai means thunder. Yep, which is why I write you. Lauren says, Eve Torres a possible Hall of Fame inductee? Eventually, yes, but the WWE typically only involve one woman, so we'll see if there's anyone else pointed out. Cody saying, Kairi just returned to Stardom full-time last month. She did. I'm excited to see more of what's going on for her shortly. I'm excited to see her wrestle again. Lauren says, Jeff Hardy says he doesn't give a fuck if he is inducted. Yep, that's right. Sean says, there is a report about him from Fightful. There is. Haven't looked at it because I don't have Fightful Select. Lauren says, Lesnar said he retired after Mania 36. He's wrestling actively right now, so that's definitely not true. Wiggly says, Pika in Japanese means electricity. Yep. Getting a full lesson here. Kuro says the no plans reports are from ringside news from Steve Carrier. Well, even a broken clock is right once. Jermaine says, hey Tom, do you think WWE will call up Cameron Grimes and have $1 million challenge fight off or something with Baron Happy Corbin? You seem to have a very clear plan of what you're thinking there, Jermaine. I wouldn't expect anything that specific. Lauren says, my fave Mania has to be 24, best Mania was 31. Fair enough. They are two different things, best and favourite. And I like when people mention that, because they are two very different things. Wiggly says, technically China is in as part of DX, but she ought to be in on her own. I think that's the best WWE are going to do for her unless it comes a time WWE is not run by a McMahon. I think it's less likely to happen under a non-McMahon, but that's just me personally. Wiggly also says, I really don't want to see Asuka and Io paired up, just because they're Japanese and stereotyped into being kabuki, etc. I want to say that they made the choice, but how many times have we heard people say that, oh, the wrestler chose it? Bearcat, for example. Not the case. The Mask, for example. Not the case. Everything Shane Thorne said when they just made him an offensive stereotype. Not the case. Sometimes wrestlers have to say things in order to fly under the radar. Kuro says, the Fightful report about Elias is out, but most of it is talking about stuff that was scrapped and ring gear changes. Vignettes he was filming what brand he was supposed to be on. Right, okay. So it's information that right now can't be verified. I'll wait and see what pops up as facts as we go forward with that. I'm sure at some point someone will post it in the Discord. That is one of the best things about the Discord. The amount of wrestling news that I don't have to go looking for anymore, because it's right there in the Discord by people posting. And I did want to ask, does anyone think we should set up like a proper newsroom section in the Discord? Because if you're a regular at the Discord, you'll know that we have the wrestling chat section, and the news usually pops up there as well. But one of the plans that I'm considering for Team Colohue as we head into that is as regards some sort of Team Colohue wrestling-based social media, which means that we will be, talking about the big news. So bringing in the big news means that the people who are running the account, it would not be me, to be clear. I want to be a bit of a jobs creator here and essentially pay a number of people to do a couple of hours a month working on the social media a bit ad hoc. And try and get a fair wage for that, based on discussions with them, would be wrestling news. So if we had a official newsroom in the Discord, that could be a big help. Simon says WrestleMania 17, 19 were by far the best Manias in my personal opinion. Wiggly says much the same. Best Manias X7. Fight me. No. Cody says Lesnar stayed retired longer than Tom Brady, which is fair. Spider Boss says I would keep the women's triple threat tag team match. Oh, just as it is. Fair enough. Also an option. Jermaine says everything that we have said about Elias on this forum, that's what Fightful just came out with today. Always check here on Tom's show because he has the info before everyone else. Thank you, Jermaine. I appreciate you saying that. I do appreciate that. It's not always the case, to be clear. But as they say, I haven't read it because I don't have Fightful Select all the time because I'm busy streaming right now. But if that's what you're saying, then I certainly believe you. Wrigley says WrestleMania 17 and 18 were the best. 18, interesting. Not a number I hear a lot. And Kuro says, I've sent you a DM to you on Twitch. Thank you for letting me know, Kuro. We have reached our hour here on the Tom Colohue Twitch and YouTube channels. Firstly, if you're watching on Twitch, please do remember to hit that follow button. We are currently still pursuing 500 followers. We've picked up quite a few recently, just sort of quietly in the background, which has been fantastic. And if you're watching on YouTube, please remember to hit like. That little thumbs up can make a massive difference. And subscribe if you haven't already. When we started the show, we were on 1,041 subscribers. We do continue to grow on a daily basis, a handful each day, which means that we are continuing to grow at 3 or 4 subscribers per day. A pretty massive increase on where we were. Jesus Christ. On where we were beforehand. Right now, we have 2 more subscribers. We are on 1,043. Thank you to both of you who have subscribed newly here. in the meantime, I hope everyone enjoys Raw tonight. I will be watching it tomorrow. Please do not DM me any spoilers. I will not be checking Twitter. But until then, I just want to say, as per usual, thank you everyone for joining me and everyone for making this a great show. I really am enjoying what we're creating here and what we've been able to bring into the world. A really well-informed and creative chat that really makes me proud to even just be a part of it. Sean says, see you on Friday, Tom. My next show is indeed going to be Friday. Thank you, Sean, for the reminder there. My next show will be Friday. It will be the Friday spoiler warning and the Smackdown watch party. Hope to see you all there. But until then, I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic. I'll see you all very soon.